Yo, it's your boy Orion, one half of the Northwest Sports Fanatics, back at you with a new video. Today's new video, NFL top 10 running backs or runners going into the 2020 regular season with your boy Orion and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can, either on here or patreon.com/NWSFR or our GoFundMe. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch, link is below every video on our YouTube page. So today's video is based off ESPN's Get Up, where they interviewed 50 different, GMs or executives telling pretty much the public and the fans of the NFL, hey, these are our top 10 in the NFL going into the 2020 season. So after I saw the list, it was a bunch of crap. So I wanted to go and do my own list and kind of break down the pieces that I think they're going to be able to dominate as we're going into 2020. And it's not going to be like any other list on ESPN or NFL.com or Skip and Shannon or Colin Cowherd or any of the other, broadcasts and other media outlets. It's going to be something totally different. And you may agree with me, you may not agree with me, but I want you guys to comment below so that way I can see at the end of the stream or during the stream in the live chat what you guys think your top 10 would be in a particular ranking. So again, the NFL top 10 running backs going into the 2020 regular season or runners by Orion and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch, link is below every video on our YouTube page. So today is Thursday. We're almost towards the weekend. We're getting a little bit closer and closer to Friday and the weekend and getting closer to hopefully getting some more NFL news. I'm excited for that. I hope all of y'all are staying safe, washing them hands. This coronavirus thing is still going on, so make sure you're, taking care of yourself and your family and wearing a mask and obviously washing them hands. It's really important because the more that the people do this, it's going to get us quicker to get back to a normal kind of routine for everyone. And obviously with sports, there was some other news that broke out that was I kind of expected it, but the Big Ten, for college football said that they're going to probably play in-house and only opponents in the Big Ten, and the SEC has kind of said the same thing, and there was going to be a big matchup with the Oregon Ducks, my team, with Ohio State, the Buckeyes, coming into town, I believe in the second week of the season. So it looks like we're going to have to reschedule that matchup. And I could care less if, Ohio State came in there and smashed Oregon, by 10 or 15 or 20. But it was just a cool matchup. You typically don't get that unless you're, in the playoff or in a bowl game. So that's a little disappointing on my end. But other than that, this list, this Get Up ESPN list, it shows you media outlets. They don't know shit. You know what I mean? I'm not sure if they have some type of bias or they just overlook certain people. And your boy, I do the research. I watch the tape. I do the stats. So I'm going to break it down why I feel that these particular players are ranked a certain way. And it may not necessarily be what they did last season. This is a whole new year in 2020, but this is kind of how I feel that they're going to project going into 2020. And there's certain guys that you may not disagree with where I have them ranked, but after I explain to you kind of the feeling that I have, you may understand at least where I'm coming from. And I do my due diligence, I do my research. So again, NFL top 10 running backs or runners going into the 2020 regular season with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. It'd be much appreciated. I love you guys. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch, link is below a video on our YouTube page. So before I get into my list and get into everything, let me just acknowledge everybody in the room because you know how I love to do that. I don't like to leave anybody out. And you guys can look at the thumbnail and all the different little collage that I decided to make for the video so you can kind of see who I'm peeping, who I'm looking at. You may not know the ranking, but it gives you a little bit of an idea who I think are the top guys in the NFL. Justin Wills, yo, what it do? He says Christian McCaffrey, number one. We will see. Nathan Dotson says, Sub-O Rizzle, what it do, my guy? One of my best fans, Young Nola, representing the Nyland Saints. We talked today. He released a new song. He's grinding just like yourself and myself. I appreciate you. And, the grind don't stop. We got to keep it moving. It's one of those things that when there's other people out there grinding and working, you got to make sure you're that guy that keeps grinding and grinding and grinding. And like I told you, it's not about how many subscribers you got on your SoundCloud or how many subscribers you got on YouTube. If you work hard and you have the passion and the dream and you have goals, eventually the door is going to open. It's not if when it's going to open, it's when it's going to open. I believe in you, Young Nola. Keep doing your thing. And this is going to be a fun show today. Young Nola, my boy. Even Justin Will says, what up, Nola? What it do? Lil Uzi Vert in the house, number one. He said, Aaron Jones. Who? Aaron Jones. But you say that because you are a Packers fan, but I definitely have him in my top 10, which is kind of funny because in Get Up's ESPN top 10, running backs or runners, they didn't even have Aaron Jones in there. So that right there, the list is already a sham, and you already know it doesn't have any weight behind it. But, that's ESPN for you. You can't really take everything that they say with a grain of salt. Right now I'm watching Alabama and LSU from last year, a nice little matchup on SEC Network. Just, there's no NFL Network games on right now, so I'm making the most of it. Young Nola said I made a song for my boy, y'all. Damn right you did. Christian McCaffrey, Justin Wills says, Dirty Bullets in the house. What it do? What it do, my guy? Nicholas Robichaud. Alvin Kamara, AK-41, back from the injury. Who dat? You dat. Used to be Club for Life. Okay, Dirty Bullets, I see him. He said, I'm chilling, dog, making music, LOL. So here we go. So I am going to start into the list, and I'll probably end up having to repeat it a few different times as we get more and more people in the room. David C., one of the biggest fans of the channel. What it do, my guy? How are you? Hopefully you're having a great Thursday. So NFL top 10 running backs or runners going into the 2020 NFL regular season with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. And donate to your boy if you can. So my first honorable mention, and I only have one, and I kind of cheated on this list because I definitely have more than 10 running backs or runners on the list, but I'll position them the way that I feel. And my honorable mention, I only have one. Obviously you got Clyde Edwards-Helaire, on the Chiefs. And then you got Jonathan Taylor on the Colts, and you also got a guy that I feel that can break out, and he could be as high as number 7, 8, 9, or 10 when the season is done. If he gets the playing time and he takes over more of the reps for Kerryon Johnson, I think Matthew Stafford and this team is going to do some damage this season. They're definitely being slept on. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about the stud running back from Georgia, DeAndre Swift. And the reason I feel that he could be up 7, 8, 9, 10, or just outside the top 10 is just the amount of carries that he'll be able to get, the type of athlete that he is. We know how good Georgia running backs are. Sony Michel, Todd Gurley, the list goes on and on and on. But DeAndre Swift, even though he's not a very tall back, he's very physical, and I feel that if Kerryon Johnson can move to the third down back and be that guy that maybe can just be the change of pace back, DeAndre Swift could be one of these guys like Josh Jacobs was last year that could really do some damage. And if the Lions are going to make the playoffs or get even close to 9 or 10 wins, you're going to have a significant impact from DeAndre Swift. And even though Clyde Edwards-Helaire at the end of the year might have more touchdowns, or maybe Jonathan Taylor ends up getting more yards depending on how many looks he gets with Marlon Mack, we don't really know. It's unproven with the snap count and how many plays each guy's going to get, how many reps these three rookies are going to get, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Jonathan Taylor, as well as DeAndre Swift. But I feel DeAndre Swift is that 3-down back. He's the guy that can get the touches, and he can really make a significant impact. Maybe be the Todd Gurley before Todd Gurley got hurt. Okay, he could be the Todd Gurley of the Rams from a few years back for the Lions, and that could be significant not only for this season for them to try to get a wild card or possibly, get to a point where they get into the playoff picture, but no one's talking about him. It's kind of like the Cardinals. Everyone is assuming that the Niners and Seahawks and maybe the Rams are just going to roll over everyone in the NFC West, and then the Packers and the Vikings are going to roll over everyone in the NFC North. Do not sleep on my honorable mention, DeAndre Swift. I think he could have over 1,000 yards and have at least 7 touchdowns by the season when it's all over. He might even be able to have a few in the air receiving as well. So keep an eye on my honorable mention. I really wanted to put him in my list because you always have one rookie every year that kind of breaks out into the top 10, and I really think DeAndre Swift is that guy that's going to break into the top 10 and be one of those studs as we go into 2020. Honorable mention, DeAndre Swift, the Detroit Lions. All right, here we go, baby. Number 10. Number 10 is kind of one of those things where I have to cheat a little bit because I have to have two guys there because I have guys that I feel that are very similar in their body style, the way that they play, what they mean to their teams. And at number 10, I have a tie. The first one is going to be from the Northwest, right here where I'm from. This guy does not get enough credit. He's very slept on, and it's one of those things as if you look at his stats, you shouldn't sleep on a guy like this, and if you end up having him in fantasy football as an RB2, you probably typically win your fantasy football league or get at least into the championship game. And who am I talking about? At number 10, Chris Carson. Danger Russ and Russell Wilson. You got Tyler Lockett, you got DK Metcalf, you got Russell Wilson, but Chris Carson really makes that wheel turn besides Danger Russ. Last season, 1,230 yards, 7 TDs on the ground, and he actually finished fifth overall in the NFL in rushing, as far as his stats are concerned. So that's kind of crazy. You would never assume Chris Carson, out of all the names that are typically a little bit more, flashy, the guys that get more media pub, that would be that much better than him. But let's not sleep on Chris Carson. I think the Seahawks, if they're going to make the wild card, you got Danger Russ. He's going to have a great season. Over 1,000 yards, 7 TDs minimum for Carson with the potential of up to 10. I absolutely love his game. And tied with him from the Las Vegas Raiders, I got Josh Jacobs. He was the rookie phenom from last year. The only other running back to me that really stood out was Miles Sanders for the Eagles. But Josh Jacobs, 1,150 yards. He had 7 TDs on the ground. 8th overall in rushing for the NFL last season. A guy that was kind of slept on, but you saw his skill set, and I absolutely love what he can do for the Raiders. It was Darren Waller at tight end. Now we're just going to have to be able to see if it's going to be Marcus Mariota, or is it going to be Mr. Carr? So I'm not sure, where they're going to go, Derek Carr, or if you're going to end up going with Marcus Mariota. I feel Mariota, not being just biased because I'm a Ducks fan, I think they have a better chance to win with Mariota, but the quarterback competition will be tough with Gruden and Mayock in the building. But I like Josh Jacobs, and he is their franchise running back for many years to come. And I know last year in the draft, when they picked him, as a Buccaneers fan, I was a little jealous. I was like, where the fuck is my running back? Where is my Josh Jacobs? And I was just thinking, come on, at some point, you got to be able to get a stud running back, and I'm still waiting for mine. And hopefully in the next couple of years, they can address it. But let's not sleep on Josh Jacobs or Chris Carson at number 10. Number 9. Number 9 is a running back that at some points I feel he plays like a top 5 running back in this league. You saw what he could do with Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens and the Ravens flock. Let's not sleep on Mark Ingram at number 9. He was ranked 14th last year, and I feel that could be much higher this season if he can stay healthy. 1,018 yards, 5.0 average, one of the highest average in the entire NFL besides who? Derrick Henry and Raheem Mostert, who obviously wants to trade from the Niners, which is sad. Mostert, come to Tampa Bay. I'll take you there. I know he doesn't want that much money. He just wants, Coleman money, which is about $4 to $5 million, and he's looking at about 2 or 3. But Mark Ingram, 1,018 yards, 10 TDs on the ground. I feel if he didn't get hurt and wasn't a little sluggish towards the end of the season and going into the playoffs, that could have been as high as 13 or 14. And that 5 yards per carry average. Don't sleep on that. There's not a lot of guys that can average 5 yards a carry. And like I said, Mark Ingram is one of the only few, him, Derrick Henry, Raheem Mostert, and Lamar Action Jackson, new wave, to be able to accomplish that running from the ground. Number 9, Mark Ingram. Number 8. Number 8 is a running back that I want to put a little bit higher, but you're going to be splitting carries with Latavius Murray. And you had some health issues last season. $8.99, Omer Muich in the building. I haven't seen you, my guy. NFL top 10 running backs going into the 2020 regular season. Panthers in the building. Omer, what it do? I haven't seen you in quite some time. Thank you for slapping down a donation for me. I appreciate you very, very much. Much love to you and your son. I hope everything is going good for you. 16 says, Camara. Wait, you put AK at 8? I did. And the thing is you have to look at the stats, though, and you have to look. He had 797 yards last season. He only had 5 TDs, Nola, all right? He was hurt. He was ranked 22nd in the NFL for running backs. No, I don't assume that he'll be as banged up playing at 65% all year, but think about it. playing at 65% last year, he got 797 fucking yards and 5 TDs, right? So he can get a little bit better, but his health issue to me is a concern. I still think the Saints are going to win the NFC South. They're going to win 11 to 13 games, more than likely be better than Tampa Bay, the Panthers, and the Falcons. But I do worry about him a little bit. There is still room for AK-41, Alvin Kamara, the alien, to get into the top 5 consideration. But there's a few other guys that you're not really thinking of that could have a better season, that are going to get more carries, more receptions. But as long as he stays healthy, he has room to improve and get better. But the main reason I have him at number 8 is you're splitting carries with Latavius Murray. That's going to take away from a little bit of what he can provide for you, not only in fantasy football, but overall from game to game. And then that health issue. 797 yards and 5 TDs. He should be sitting at probably somewhere between 1,000 and 1,300 yards this season, and somewhere between 7 and 11 touchdowns if he can stay healthy. But it just depends if he can. And that's facts. Number 8, AK-41, a little low, I get it, but you got to see where I'm coming from. You know, normally AK-41 is a top 4, top 5 running back, but look at the guys that I have in front, and you'll understand. Number 7 is a running back. Skull! You better recognize his skill set. You know he can do it. It's not only the Kirk Cousins show in Minnesota. I'm talking about Dalvin Cook. He said, I might not play because I need some fucking more money. But look at these stats. 1,135 yards, a 4.5 average yards per carry, 13 TDs on the ground. Dalvin Cook is not something to fuck with. Now, you can say, you have bias for one running back or another. I feel that Dalvin Cook will probably be able to get more touches than AK-41. He's going to be able to score more touchdowns. I'm not necessarily saying that he's that much better of a running back than AK-41, but I need to see AK-41 to really be able to hold it on his own. And you got to think, with Dalvin Cook, sitting there at that ranking, AK-41 really was his best when he had who? Mark Ingram. So he hasn't really been the star 3-down back. He was kind of like the complimentary back when it was Mark Ingram and AK-41. That's when they shined. Then when he ended up being the starting guy, eating all those Skittles and whatnot, and then having Latavius Murray, what happened? They ran him maybe a little bit too much, where his body couldn't handle it with the reps and the carries, and he got hurt. So you got to take that in consideration. But with Dalvin Cook, he can handle all the carries. He can do it all. He can run. He can catch. And I know it's a little bit low to have him at number 7, right? But there's other guys that I feel that you got to be able to, be a little bit on notice for. Number 7, Dalvin Cook from the Minnesota Vikings. And this one's a little bit of a cheat, okay, at number 6, because it's NFL top 10 running backs or guys that carry the rock, runners in the NFL, by your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy like Omer Muich did, $8.99, my guy. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch, link is below every video on our YouTube page. So right now I have at number 6, it's not even a fucking running back. If you look at my thumbnails, you can kind of go through what's the one thumbnail that doesn't belong, even though those little ones in the left-hand corner, you may have to squint to see who's up there. Between the lines, got to take a quick peek. But if you look through the thumbnails, who's the only person that doesn't play running back? Lamar Jackson from the Baltimore Ravens. Yes, I know he's not a running back, but he puts up running back numbers. At number 6, Lamar Jackson, 1,206 yards on the ground for a quarterback. 7 rushing TDs, 80.4 yards per game. That's a lot better than most of the running backs in the league. And believe it or not, he was 6th last year. 6th last year out of all the running backs in the entire NFL. So that means he beat out every single other running back in the NFL except for 5 guys. So that's why I got to put him on the list and give him the love. Of course, it's the scheme. They went away from the Joe Flacco, era, and they decided to do the RPO and the read option offense, and obviously this is going to get to a point where he's probably going to get hurt. He's going to injure a knee or injure an ankle or an Achilles. I hope not. But I mean, the way that these players, the RG3, the Colin Kaepernicks, usually it ends up catching up to him. But with Lamar Jackson winning the MVP, we've seen how great he can be. And the biggest threat to the Kansas City Chiefs right now, especially bringing in Calais Campbell and re-signing Judon, Lamar Jackson, 1,206 yards, 7 TDs on the ground. I won't even mention what he did through the air. 80.4 yards per game. Lamar Action Jackson, new wave at number 6. And it's a little bit of a cheat. I get it, okay, because he's a quarterback, but it's either running backs or runners in the NFL, and he is that damn good. And don't be shocked if he ends up getting more yards this season and more rushing TDs. It's very possible. Maybe not a whole lot more, but if he ended up getting around 1,300 yards rushing and maybe 8 or 9 TDs on the ground, I wouldn't really be shocked. This is Lamar Jackson we're talking about at number 6. At number 5, I have a tie again, and I have these two running backs pretty much in the same position because I feel that they're very similar for what they do for their teams and how great they really are. First off, at number 5 is a guy that wasn't even on the Get Up ESPN list, so you know that list is trash. Over 50 executives and GMs and personnel voted to decide who are the top 10 running backs in the NFL. They did not even have this man in there. They had guys like Le'Veon Bell on the list at number 10. Are you fucking kidding me? At number 5, which I could put higher, to be very honest with you, because he's that damn good. I'm speaking of who? Aaron Jones. Who? Aaron Jones for the Green Bay Packers. You know, Aaron Rodgers. Mr. Discount Double Check does it all. But he had 16 TDs on the ground. Aaron Jones. Who? Aaron Jones. And that is very, I don't know, kind of mesmerizing, unbelievable, because you wouldn't think he'd be able to have that many touchdowns. But just as unbelievable is Derrick Henry, the other guy that I have from the Titans at number 5. He was number 1 in the league in rushing last year, 1,540 yards on the ground, a 5.1 average yards per game, which is number 1 for guys that get that amount of carries. And then obviously you saw Mark Ingram with a 5.0 average, but he really got hot towards the end of the season in the playoffs. That's what put him in that number 1 position. 1,540 yards, 5.1 average yards per game, 102.7 yards per game with 16 TDs on the ground. And I feel Derrick Henry and Aaron Jones are very similar. They can go through the A gap, the B gap. They can go tosses. You can do screen passes to him, even though Derrick Henry isn't really a screen pass kind of guy. But once in a while, you can throw it out to him, and he'll be able to do some damage. And I really feel that Aaron Jones and Derrick Henry are very disrespected. They don't get enough pub. You know, in the NFL, you get a lot of the guys that get a lot of the love in the media, and I get it. But how dare you, ESPN and Get Up, to not even have Aaron Jones, not even in the top 10 with all the executives? You obviously didn't watch football last season, and I know he's going to have a fantastic year for the Green Bay Packers. And if they end up winning the NFC North, you know Aaron Jones, Aaron Jones is going to be a big reason why. A tie at number 5 with Aaron Jones and Derrick Henry. Now we're getting to the cream of the crop, and may surprise a few of you on the way that I have this position. At number 4, the 4th best running back in the league. At times, I feel this running back is number 1 in the league. He's very consistent. Every year, he goes in, he does his work. Yum, 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 yum. He always eats, and we always know that he's going to get a good chunk of touchdowns. He's typically always over 1,000 yards. He typically always gets over 10 touchdowns a season. At number 4, I have Ezekiel Elliott. 1,357 yards last season, 12 TDs. I feel that he's going to mirror that performance. Even with CeeDee Lamb coming in, rocking the 88, Michael Gallup, Amari Cooper, Dak should be a little bit better. There is no excuse for Zeke besides COVID-19 and coronavirus. Make sure he stays healthy. I know that he ended up getting that. But I feel Zeke Elliott is one of those guys that does get disrespected as well. But the thing is, regardless if he gets disrespected or you're a Cowboy fan or you're not, you can't really deny the fact that when he was on Ohio State and every single year on the Cowboys, he brings it. And that's why he's so valuable, not only to the Cowboys. When he plays well, the Cowboys win. When he struggles, you can't really rely on Dak to win the games for you just yet. So depending on what happens this year, if Dak can show when Zeke has a bad game or mediocre game and he can still win the game for you with his arm, Dak Prescott, then he might be the quarterback of the future for the Dallas Cowboys. At number 4, I got Ezekiel Elliott, 1,357 yards, 12 TDs on the ground, and I feel he can outdo himself in 2020. Number 3. Now, a lot of y'all are going to think I'm crazy and you're not going to agree with me, but at number 3, is the running back that most people have at number 1, okay? I feel that this quarterback running back combination with Danny Dimes is amazing. I feel that he's going to be able to put up a shitload of yards. He's got the strongest quads, say quads, in the building. He's amazing, okay? But the thing that puts me kind of at that point where I'm like, you know what? Can you stay healthy for a full 16, 17-week season? And I don't think he can. I mean, he's so physical, and he runs over people. He does things that I've never, ever seen, on a football field. He's got that Bo Jackson, Barry Sanders in him. But when you play that physical, a lot of times you're going to get banged up from time to time. And if you had him in fantasy, there was a stretch there where you probably ended up losing quite a few games like I did last season when I had him, because you just can't count on the backups that they have there. I know Danny Dimes is going to get better. Saquon is going to continue to do his thing. You can run the ball with him. You can throw the ball to him. He's athletic. He's going to do Jordan-like moves, when he's in the red zone to get you touchdowns. But I just feel the health issue is a concern. He was ranked last season was 16th overall, which he should have been top 5 if he didn't get injured. So his health, just like AK-41, is a concern for me. 1,003 yards, 6 TDs. He should be able to get double that. He should be able to get at least 10 to 12 TDs on the ground. And then if he doesn't get hurt, somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500 yards rushing, if he can stay healthy. But that's the key thing for me. I don't know if AK-41 Alvin Kamara can stay healthy. I don't know if Saquon Barkley can stay healthy. I feel a little bit more comfortable with number 4, Ezekiel Elliott, staying healthy, my number 2 and my number 1 player as well. So number 3, no disrespect, Saquads, you can prove everyone wrong and have that number 1 fantasy football season and be that number 1 running back in the NFL. But until then, I got to put you at number 3. Number 3, Saquon Barkley. Number 2, who could it be? Number 2 is a running back that finished last year at number 2. I feel that he might be able to lead the league in rushing this season. With the offense that they have, Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham, Austin Hooper, even if you don't like Baker Mayfield and you don't really believe on what he's going to do, I think that this player can really show out and legitimately be the number 1 running back at the end of the season. But I got him at number 2, just like he finished last season, even over Saquon and Zeke and Aaron Jones and Derrick Henry. No, I'm not fucking crazy. I have Nick Chubb from Georgia, representing the Cleveland Browns. Now, I don't know if the Cleveland Browns are going to be able to make the playoffs or not. 1,494 yards on the ground, a 5 yards per carry average, which is great. 8 TDs. He's going to have to probably get somewhere in that 12 to 15 range if, the Cleveland Browns are going to make the playoffs, because I can't really count on Baker Mayfield just yet. But if you look at Baker Mayfield, Austin Hooper, Njoku wants a trade, but he's still there, right? And you still got Kareem Hunt to back up Nick Chubb, Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham. So the names are there. And I don't really believe in a lot of those guys personally, but I do believe in one guy on the Cleveland Browns, and that's Nick Chubb, besides maybe Denzel Ward and Myles Garrett if he's not swinging those damn helmets at the Pittsburgh Steelers. But those are the 3 guys that I really believe in game in and game out. Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward at corner, and Nick Chubb. And Nick Chubb is one of those guys. He's physical. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can do every single thing that Saquon and Zeke can do. And the thing is, for me, I think he's going to get more touches than any other running back in this league besides maybe my number 1 running back that I have. And I really feel that after this season, he's really going to start getting the respect that he deserves. I absolutely love him. And don't be surprised if he goes number 1 or number 2 in a lot of fantasy football drafts. Yeah, a lot of people will go run CMC or Saquon or Zeke, but don't be surprised for that guy to go, hey, you know what? I believe in Nick Chubb, and they're going to run the fuck out of the rock, especially with Stefanski and this new head coach. You don't have the old regime there anymore, so I absolutely believe in number 2, Nick Chubb, even over Saquon Barkley and Zeke Elliott. That's crazy. And my number 1 running back going into 2020, just because for the fact I feel he's going to get so many touches. Cam Newton is no longer there. You got Teddy Two Gloves as the new running back. Luke Kuechly is no longer there. You drafted Derek Brown from Auburn to help with the pass rush. You still got, Curtis Samuel and DJ Moore. But ultimately, the offense with Teddy Bridgewater is going to run with the number 1 running back on my list. Run CMC, Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey, 1,387 yards rushing, 15 fucking TDs on the ground, only to be beat by Derrick Henry and Aaron Jones with 16. But what makes him even more special, 1,005 yards receiving and 4 TDs in the air. And I feel that those stats could be even better this season because he is that damn good. A lot of people You don't want to say, oh, just because maybe he's a Caucasian running back, he's not as good as some of these other brothers who we normally see dominate. Barry Sanders, Emmitt Smith, Walter Payton. We've always seen the brothers just lock it down at the running back position. So it's very rare to be able to see a guy as dominant as Christian McCaffrey, just like Mike Allstott was for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Every once in a while, you'll find a running back that isn't the traditional mold of a running back, and I absolutely love Run CMC. And the thing is he's stronger, faster, he's got more agility, jukes than people think. When you watched him at Stanford, which I did, and I knew that he'd be a 3-down back, there was a lot of skeptics out there and a lot of non-believers. Maybe just because of the color of his skin, maybe they thought, oh, just because he's a white running back, there's no way that he's going to be able to be a 3-down back. He's the next Peyton Hillis. Well, he proved everybody fucking wrong. He ain't no fucking Peyton Hillis, so that's for damn sure. He's on his way for a Hall of Fame career, and if the Panthers want to have a legitimate good season, they're going to have to rely on him, but don't go to him too much, though. Make sure you get DJ Moore involved and Curtis Samuel and the rest of the team. Otherwise, you're going to end up just burning him out. But he definitely has all the attributes to go 1,000. But not only that, he went 1,387 and 1,005. So he pretty much went 1,400 and 1,000. And this season, he could go 1,511 or maybe 1,512. It's definitely very possible. And there's not very many running backs. If you go back in history, Roger Craig, 1,000. Marshall Faulk, 1,000 on the ground, 1,000 through the air. Christian McCaffrey is this generation of Marshall Faulk, Roger Craig, and then when it's all said and done, his name might be even higher than those two guys when it's all said and done, and that's a big accomplishment if you really think about it. Christian McCaffrey at number 1. NFL top 10 running backs or runners going into the 2020 season with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that fucking like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy like Omer Muich did. $8.99, my boy. I appreciate it. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch, link is below every video on our YouTube page. So everyone, comment below in the chat. Let me know your top 5. If you don't want to go through the top 10, let me know what you guys think, and I'll definitely check out everybody's list and see how they're doing. Let me go back here and just acknowledge everyone here in the building. Justin Wills, Nathan Dotson, Young Nola, Uzi in the building, Dirty Bullets, Nicholas in the building, David C. in the building, Mr. Cole. What's good, brother? Sorry I missed your live show on the Mahomes contract. All good, my guy. I'm sweating over here, but, it was a great day for the Chiefs Kingdom to be able to get him locked up long-term. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. He's not going to complete, that whole 12 years with a 10-year extension. And we're going to have to wait until 2025 when Dak and Deshaun Watson and Carson Wentz and all these other guys have extensions or they're going to be up for new contracts as well. But I'm very happy for you guys. No more Brodie Croyle, no more Elvis Grbac, no more Matt Castle. It's Patrick the Clone Mahomes. Showtime for many years to come. And more than likely, you guys are going to go back-to-back this season. Miss you. Appreciate you, Mr. Cole. Hopefully you are being safe. And I miss you, man. Our talks on here will continue. And that is big facts. Number 1 has got to be Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Let's go Chiefs. I actually like Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I think he's going to have a great season. Him, Jonathan Taylor for the Colts with Phillip Rivers, as well as DeAndre Swift, my honorable mention. 6'8" Kamara. He's saying, Young Noah says, wait, you put AK at 8? But you got to look at all the other players that I put ahead of him and the reason why. So you get it. I think Kamara would have been way higher if he was 100% healthy. Agreed. And in the ESPN list, they had him at 4. And if he ends up being healthy, I can see that, but he still hasn't proven to me yet that he could be a 3-down back without getting injured, that he can handle the reps like the other top guys, Saquon, Zeke, right? Run CMC, Aaron Jones, Derrick Henry. These are guys that are 3-down backs. I feel Kamara, to me, as I'm wiping off the sweat here, I feel he's more of a change of pace back. Mark Ingram was the starting back when they had him, and AK-41 played that perfect change of pace, 3rd down back. That was really that 1-2 combo that we haven't really seen it since, he ended up going to the Baltimore Ravens. But hopefully he can prove me wrong that he can, handle the Skittles, he can handle the reps, and he can end up being a 3-down back. I hope so, because their chances of getting to the NFC Championship game are going to be really behind his shoulders and Drew Brees, AK-41, Alvin Kamara. A-Guy says Raiders and Josh Jacobs. Bird Gang 114. Miles Sanders could be top 10 next year. He could. I think Josh Jacobs was a little bit better than him last season, but another player that I thought as a rookie coming in, he over-exceeded the expectations, and I definitely love his game. Miles Sanders is a stud from Penn State. Omer Muwich. He said, good night, chat. Go Panthers. Appreciate you, my guy. Justin Wills says Christian McCaffrey 1, Saquon 2, Zeke 3. Okay, I see ya. A-Guy, so I hope I didn't miss Josh Jacobs just yet, A-Guy. The Raiders. Six Ink says Cook. He's turning into a top 5 back if he keeps up in 2020. Justin Wills says only 7 for Dalvin Cook, but you know what? There's different guys that, I have to go in there. Lamar Jackson at 6, as you see that. Thoughts on Sanders, Miles Sanders, Bird Gang. Like I said, I think he's a guy that can be a change of pace back, but he is their 3-down back. He's a guy that Carson Wentz can really count on. You're having these issues with Djax. You got Rager, so you got 2 guys that can go deep. Alshon, Zach Ertz, a top 3. So bad it hurts Zach Ertz, the top 3 tight end in the league with Travis Kelce and George Kittle. And then you still got Dallas Goedert. As long as he's getting not knocked out in the Dakotas by some cheap shot guy at the bar, I love Dallas Goedert as well. So you got 2 awesome tight ends there also. But Miles Sanders does have the ability to be able to get into the top 10. The only thing for me is the reason why he probably won't be top 10 is because you guys have so much talent around him. He just might not get the same opportunities as some of these other running backs that are going to be force-fed, and that's facts. Miles Sanders could do it, but you just got so much talent at the wide receiver and tight end position that, it might just not be enough touches for him to really show out the way that he's, meant to show out. Facts. Six Ink says Henry is an outright beast. Damn right he is. Jeffrey says, you don't think Derrick Henry is going to have a down year because of all his carries last season? No. Based on Ryan Tannehill and A.J. Brown being arguably the best wide receiver rookie last season with Scary Terry McLaurin and DK Metcalf, I think Derrick Henry, if you watched him play, he got really hot there in November, December, and in that playoff push, and he ended up being the number 1 running back in the whole entire NFL. So I definitely do not think that really is going to hinder him in any way. We've had so many months off. He's a great condition kind of guy. If you ever follow Twitter or Instagram and you watch what he can do, he's one of those guys that really keeps his body in shape. So I have the utmost respect for Derrick Henry, and I feel the Titans were going to be a playoff team again this season, and that's facts. Six Ink says Zeke, Saquon Barkley. Austin GT says CMC is the best running back in the league. Pause up. Keep pounding. Justin Will says facts. Six Ink says Chubb. Say they're finna gonna call you crazy. No, man. I got the facts, man. I got to look up the stats. I got to watch the tape. I got to go through everything. Six Ink says, I think Chubb looks so good because of the team he's surrounded with and how much he can produce with that team, even though it's shaky. But what's the one consistent thing on the Cleveland Browns? Right? Who thought Nick Chubb would be number 2 in rushing last season? Fucking nobody. No one would have even put him in the top 10 in rushing. But he's more consistent than Baker. He's more consistent than Odell Beckham. He's more consistent than Jarvis Landry. He's going to be more consistent than Austin Hooper or Njoku. He's a guy that if you watched him in college, at Georgia, he is the fucking real deal. And at the end of the season, he could be the number 1 rusher in yards at the end of the season and possibly in the rankings in the top 4 or 5 as far as touchdowns on the ground are concerned as well. I mean, I really have that much respect for him. I think he's that good. And regardless of all those other weapons, sometimes you can't rely on Baker. So if you got to hand the ball off, what a better position to throw it off to Nick Chubb or Kareem Hunt. Facts. Taijutsu, number 1, run CMC. Number 2, Saquon Barkley. Number 3, Chubb. Number 4, Zeke. And I feel more and more people, once they watch the Nick Chubb footage and they end up going over the stats, Nick Chubb is starting to be a guy that will be in top 4 considerations and most people's lists moving forward. You're just going to need to see one more solid year for the non-believers to realize, as long as he doesn't get hurt, knock on wood, that he will be a legitimate guy that you could put up there with Saquon, Run CMC, and Zeke Elliott, which is kind of crazy, but we were due for another guy. It was Todd Gurley, for a while, but then he ended up getting hurt. So it was time for a new guy to end up getting into the, into the mold of the top 5 consideration. And he's definitely it, even though you got Aaron Jones and Derrick Henry and Dalvin Cook and these other guys that are right there as well. Young Nola says, how do you feel with AK and CMC sharing the backfield? How do you think that would be? Well, Run CMC would be the starter, and AK-41 would be the change of pace back. And it's not any disrespect to Alvin Kamara, you know what I mean? But if you just watch the way that he played with Mark Ingram, he's never been the lead back. If you watched him in college and what he could do there, he's always been kind of that change of pace back. He's never been that guy that got the shitload of carries and opportunities. He was the guy that would just come in there after the main guy, Mark Ingram, just got a bunch of long gains, and then maybe the defense had their hands on their hips. You put in AK-41 for a screen pass or to run up the middle, and they didn't know how to stop him because he was fresh, and he could use his movements, his lateral movements from side to side. And like I said, I still think he's an amazing player, but he hasn't been the same without Mark Ingram. And with Latavius Murray, he did get hurt last year, but put up amazing stats, being 65% all year, 797 yards and 5 TDs. But for him to be able to, get that ranking up there again, we're going to need to see 1,100 to 1,500 yards on the ground, and we're going to need to see somewhere between 10 and 16 touchdowns. And I'm not sure if you're going to be able to get that out of him if his body breaks down. Some guys' bodies are a little bit more brittle than others. Some guys condition a little bit more than others. Some guys are blessed with a little bit better bone structure and muscles than others. I know he's a hard worker and he's a great guy, and I love him, AK-41 Alvin Kamara, but you just got to look at each personnel, the packages that he gets in, and hopefully that he can prove a lot of us wrong and stay healthy, get the looks, because they're going to need him to be A-plus top-notch with Drew Brees if they're going to make the NFC Championship game this year. Time is running out for Drew Brees and the Saints, young Nola, and you know it. We talk about it every day on Instagram and on social media. We talk about our Bucs and Saints playing week 1 in the Dome, right? And how good your team's going to be and how much better the Bucs are going to be. And you guys have ran that NFC South for years and years and years, but we're coming. The Tampa Bay Bucs, you see me? The Tampa Bay Bucs, we're coming, baby. We're coming. And we might not be able to win week 1 in the Dome, but I bet you we split. We're not going to get swept by you this year, and we will make the playoffs. That's facts this season. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers will make the playoffs this season. I don't know how far they're going to go, but that 2007 drought, that 13-year drought of not making the playoffs is going to be over. And I'll tell you what, as far as Saints fans are concerned, you're not going to want to play Tampa Bay in the playoffs, and I don't think anyone would want to play them, because especially if you got Tom Brady out there, you can say he's washed. You can say he's old. But if you got Tom Brady, legitimately, you got a shot. You got a shot to do something magical. I mean, you got 6 Super Bowls out of 9 opportunities. It wasn't just all Belichick. It wasn't just all Brady. It was a combination of both. But we will see. And the season is coming soon for the Tampa Bay Bucs and the Saints to prove it. Put up or shut up, baby. I can't wait. Nolans Saints. That is how I feel about AK-41. Lenny D. Fly, Eagles, fly. What to do, my guy? Since we're talking about running backs, and I know he's not a top 10 running back right now, but I'm ready for Miles Sanders to show up. I am too. And for them to be able to win the division, they don't necessarily need Miles Sanders to show out. He could have an average to mediocre season because they have so much talent around him. Like I mentioned, Alshon, Raygor, right? D-Jax, if he can keep his mouth shut. Zach Ertz, top 3 tight end in the league. So bad it hurts. Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert. Carson Wentz, a top 4 quarterback in the league. Fletcher Cox on the opposite side. Darius Slay. Do I need to keep on going? Derek Barnett. I can go on and on and on and on. You feel me? Kelsey. I mean, they got plenty of guys on the Eagles to do it. But besides Josh Jacobs for the Raiders, we saw what Miles Sanders could do. These Penn State guys really get slept on. You got Saquon Barkley gets all the love. What about Chris Godwin for my Bucs? What about Miles Sanders? I don't think people are really giving those type of guys enough love. What about KJ Hamler for Denver? These Penn State guys are a lot better than people give them credit for. And once they get enough time under their belt and learn the playbook and get the opportunities, I mean, to follow up Saquon Barkley, think about how difficult that must have been. To follow up Saquon Barkley, arguably one of the best running backs since Bo Jackson, Barry Sanders-like type of guy. And he did a great job. And then he came into the Eagles with a perfect fit. So I'm really ready for him to show out. He might be able to have a top 10 season. Maybe not a top 10 running back just yet, but he's getting there. He's very, very close. He's on the outside looking in, and that's facts. 6 Inc., top 5, Run CMC 1, Saquon 2, Derrick Henry 3, Zeke 4, Nick Chubb 5. Good list. I can't argue with that. Everyone's got their personal, preferences on, what they think. Everyone's going to have their own opinion. I like it. Money Joker. I think Kamara is going to be top 5 next year with 850 receiving yards and 850 rushing yards. I'm not sure if that would actually put you at top 5 numbers, though. I mean, you're going to have more rushing yards than that. The receiving yards is great with 850 if he had that many, but you're going to need more than 850 rushing yards to be considered top 5, especially with guys like Christian McCaffrey, Nick Chubb, Saquon Barkley, Zeke Elliott, Aaron Jones, Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook, Josh Jacobs, Mark Ingram, Chris Carson, maybe DeAndre Swift or Jonathan Taylor. You know what I'm saying? You're going to need a little bit more, but I see what you're saying. But I mean, look at Run CMC. He had 1,387 yards rushing, 15 TDs, and 1,005 receiving, and 4 TDs in the air. I mean, that's a gap there between 850 and 850. You feel me? But I'm hoping and I'm rooting for AK-41. Even though I'm a Bucs fan, I want the best stars in the NFL to show out. I don't want injuries. I want to see guys show what they can do, and that's what makes the NFL exciting, and that's why I'm a Northwest sports fanatic. I love all the teams, all the players with no bias. We call it right down the middle. If you're great, even if you're on the Cowboys or the Patriots, if you're Zeke Elliott, I can recognize how great you are. You know, if you're Julian Edelman or Sony Michel, I can recognize how great you are, even though you're on the Patriots. You feel me? And that's how it's always been on the channel. I call it how I see it. That's facts. Lenny D said AK had a down year. That's an understatement. You know, he played at 65%. He was ranked 22 overall last season, 797 yards on the ground, 5 TDs. And if he was healthy, probably somewhere between 11 and 1,300 yards and maybe 9 to 11 TDs, right? But he's also splitting carries with Latavius Murray. So that's going to take away from some of the things that he does. And Taysom Hill, the Swiss Army knife, is there too. That's going to take away from some of the opportunities that AK-41 would have normally had because of that offense that they run, the gimmicks that they run with Taysom Hill. So that's another reason why I had him slide down a little bit in my list, because there's other guys that are going to take away from his opportunities. Same thing with Emmanuel Sanders coming in now too. It used to be can't guard Michael Thomas, the best wide receiver in the game, and Jared Cook cooking up the competition. Now you got Emmanuel Sanders in the mix too, so that's going to be more, looks going his way and less going to AK-41. But I hope he can stay healthy, and that's facts. Lenny D say Miles Sanders was fast. He was keeping up with D-Jax while they were working out with each other. I've seen the highlights with Miles Sanders from last season, and I know they're probably working out, at this time, trying to get their bodies right. And they're really going to need Miles Sanders to have a great year to really take a leap over the Cowboys and the Redskins and the Giants. I feel, if you can get a big year for Miles Sanders instead of it being 10-6 and 9-7, then that can put you in that 11 or 12 win category over the Cowboys with maybe 9 or 10 wins. So if you want like a 2-win gap in your divisional title, you want 12 and the Cowboys get 10, or you get 11 and they get 9, you're going to need Miles Sanders to step it up a little bit more this season, but I definitely think that he can do it. Quez Watkins to make the roster so bad. I saw that they picked him up with the whole D-Jack situation, and so we'll see. I hope he does too. 13 to Braves, Chris Carson, underrated. Arguably the most underrated running back in the entire NFL, I say, would be Chris Carson. 1,230 yards, 7 TDs on the ground. He finished 5th in the NFL last season. No one talks about him because he's Chris Carson. He's from the Seattle Seahawks. Everyone talks about Russell Wilson, dangerous. He gets the love. Number 2 rated quarterback in the NFL behind Patrick Mahomes, right? Tyler Lockett. To me, he's a top 10 wide receiver. He's one of those guys, he can do it as well, right? He can do it on and on and on. Sorry about the little misconnection there. But he's another guy that can do it too, right? DK Metcalf has an opportunity to be the breakout guy, going in, to this season to really show out and to show his skill set. But no one ever talks about Chris Carson. So for me, I think that's the main running back that really gets slept on the most. And as far as wide receiver, the most underrated wide receiver that gets slept on in the NFL, and this is facts, it's Keenan Allen. If you end up watching Chargers games, he is a top 5 wide receiver in the league, but he never gets top 5 votes. He never gets top 5 pub. He never gets top 5 love, right? But you can legitimately put him right there with Mike Evans and a few other guys at number 5, but he never really gets it. He normally finishes 6 through maybe 11 overall. But if you look at the stats and his route running and his hands and everything that Keenan Allen does, he's just like Chris Carson. Gets the fucking job done game in and game out. I believe it. Carson is good, but not top 10 good. But how come he finished 5th in the NFL last season then? If he's not that good, You know, I believe he played every game except for one. 1,230 yards, 7 TDs on the ground. He can get the ball in the air. He's just not a popular name. You know what I'm saying? That's what, you know, the NFL media outlets, they like to shove Saquon down your throat and run CMC and Zeke down your throat. But what about the other guys? That's why you got to watch the tape and see, you know, what these other guys do. And that's why I watch 4, 5, 6 NFL games a week in entirety to be able to see really what's going on with the O-line and the team. Carson is top 10. That's facts. Derek Mason. Skull! Dalvin Cook. Young Nola, my boy. Justin Will says, you think Tar Heels football is going to be ranked? Too early to say. Who knows who's going to play who at this point? Big Ten decided that they're going to play Big Ten. SEC is only going to play SEC. So we'll see if the Pac-10 follows. That's facts. Ashton White says Todd Gurley. He's no longer top 10 anymore. He used to be. You could have argued a couple years back he was number 1, number 2. But he's no longer even in the top 10 anymore. You can't even really put Le'Veon Bell in the top 10. You used to have Todd Gurley and Le'Veon Bell as 1, 2, or 2, 3, out of the top backs in the league, and you can't even say that anymore. It shows you how much things change when you get traded to another team that has a shitty O-line like the Jets and Le'Veon Bell, or if you're Todd Gurley and you have a knee injury. Sometimes you just never recover, and that's facts. Preaching, baby, I'm preaching. Keenan Allen. Most underrated wide receiver in the league. Chris Carson, the most underrated running back in the NFL. Miles for miles and miles. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles. What up, Big Jim? How are you? NFL top 10 running backs or runners going into the 2020 regular season. Get Up ESPN had a trash list. Had Le'Veon Bell at 10. Who else did they have? They didn't have Aaron Jones on the list at all. So I had to do my list to kind of give you a heads up on really what real football fans do. They do the research. They watch the film. They go to the stats. And if you don't have Aaron Jones as a top 10 running back as one of your pieces in the top 10, you know the list is not legitimate. And supposedly they asked 50 GMs or executives. Are there 50 GMs and executives that fucking stupid that they can't realize that Aaron Jones is top 10 talent? I guess so. Honorable mention for me could be Clyde Edwards-Helaire. It could be Jonathan Taylor. Clyde Edwards-Helaire for the Chiefs. It could be Jonathan Taylor for the Colts. But you're going to have Damian Williams, getting some carries, and Darwin Thompson and a few of these other guys, right? You're also going to have Marlon Mack stealing some carries away from Jonathan Taylor from Wisconsin, who I loved and wanted on my Tampa Bay Bucks. But DeAndre Swift, to me, could be the guy that at the end of the year could be ranked 7th, 8th, 9th, or 10th for the Lions. If they decide to move Kerryon Johnson to the third down back, the change of pace back, I think DeAndre Swift could be the next Todd Gurley-ish kind of player, Nick Chubb-ish kind of player, but it just depends if he gets the looks and gets the opportunities. He's got the skill set. He's not very tall. He's like 5'9", 5'10", but he's got a bowling ball kind of body, and I really feel that he could be like a Nick Chubb, DeAndre Swift for the Lions, and if he has a monster year in fantasy and you have him at like RB3 or your flex or RB2, could be damage, and the Lions could make the playoffs this season. I'm not saying they're going to be better than the Vikings or Packers, but they could make the wild card this season if DeAndre Swift has a monster season, and I could definitely see it happening. Honorable mention, DeAndre Swift from Georgia for the Detroit Lions. Number 10, two guys, Chris Carson from the Seattle Seahawks and Josh Jacobs from the Raiders. Chris Carson, the most underrated running back in the NFL from the Seahawks, 1,230 yards, 7 TDs on the ground. Josh Jacobs from the Raiders last season. Besides Miles Sanders, he showed out. Josh Jacobs, 1,150 yards, 7 TDs on the ground. I think that could be better this season for the Raiders. They just need to go with Mariota instead of Carr. Let's make it happen. At number 10, Carson and Jacobs. Number 9 is a guy that used to be on the New Orleans Saints, but now he's on the Baltimore Ravens and the Ravens flock. At number 9, it's Mark Ingram. He's a stud. 1,018 yards, 14th rated running back last season. But guess what? He got hurt. 5 yards per carry average. Only Derrick Henry, and Raheem Mostert had a higher yards per carry average with 5.1 and 5.6. But based off carries and looks, he was number 2 behind only Derrick Henry, and maybe if you want to throw Lamar Jackson in there, even though he's a quarterback. 10 TDs on the ground. As long as he can stay healthy, this is the biggest threat to the Kansas City Chiefs if they want to make the Super Bowl this season. Mark Ingram at number 9. Number 8, Slightly lower than what I would like to have him. Normally, I'd like to have AK-41 sitting somewhere between 5 through 7, but he got injured last season. He was ranked 22nd overall, 797 yards, 5 TDs at 65%. Obviously, you're going to split carries with Latavius Murray, and you're going to split some looks with Taysom Hill. Who am I talking about? Number 8, Alvin Kamara. And I feel he's the one that could jump up the highest out of any running back. It just depends if he can prove to me and everyone else he could be a Skittle-eating 3-down back. He loves his Skittles, right? But he needs to be able to eat them Skittles like Marshawn Lynch did, beast mode, right? And he needs to be able to prove that he can handle the touches. Because so far in his career, he's been a good change of pace back, but when it comes down to getting all those looks, he just hasn't proven that he could do it just yet. But I believe in him. I believe in the alien in AK-41, Alvin Kamara at number 8. Number 7. Skull! It's no longer Kirk Cousins' team. It's Dalvin Cook at number 7, 1,135 yards, 13 TDs on the ground, a 4.5 average. I love him. He's one of those guys. He was number 10th ranked last season. He wants his money. Give him the money. He's worth it. And he's one of those guys that he's really hard to stop. Once he starts to really get going, especially in the first quarter, if he breaks off for 35 yards or more in the first quarter, you can almost bet he's going to hit 100 to 140 almost every single game, because even though teams want to make adjustments in the second half for Dalvin Cook, a lot of times they can't because he's that damn good. Number 7, Dalvin Cook. Skull! Number 6. It's not even a running back. It's a quarterback. Shouldn't even have him on the list, but I had to. Lamar Action Jackson at number 6. He was ranked number 6 last season as far as running backs and quarterbacks, anyone rushing the football, which means only 5 other players at running back beat him, which is amazing. No wonder he won the MVP. 1,206 yards rushing, 7 TDs on the ground, 80.4 yards per game on the ground, and I won't even talk about Lamar Jackson's passing yards. That's why I have him on the list. Odin's Child in the building, my guy. Love you, brother. How are you? Since you just came into the building, I'm not sure what you heard. I'll get back to the list and I'll start it over for you. NFL top 10 running backs going into 2020. Get Up ESPN had a list. It was trash. So I'm going to show you my list. They didn't even have Aaron Jones. Who? Aaron Jones in the top 10. Honorable mention, DeAndre Swift from the Lions. Number 10, Chris Carson and Josh Jacobs from the Raiders. Number 9, Mark Ingram. Number 8, Alvin Kamara, AK-41, the alien. Number 7, Dalvin Cook. Number 6, Lamar Jackson, even though he's a quarterback. And then number 5 is a tie between who? Aaron Jones. Who? Aaron Jones and Derrick Henry. Aaron Jones was 12th last season. Derrick Henry was number 1. The thing that they have in common, 16 TDs on the ground for both of them. Amazing. Derrick Henry, 1,540 yards, a 5.1 average per game, 102.7 yards per game, number one ranked in yards, average, yards per game, and tied for touchdowns, which is amazing with Aaron Jones, and I think he'll be able to do it again. Number 4, Zeke Elliott, 1,357 yards and 12 TDs on the ground. I think he can do it again, even though CeeDee Lamb is coming. You got Michael Gallup, you got Amari Cooper. Dak can make it happen. Feed Zeke the rock. If they want to end up winning the NFC East or competing with the Eagles. Number 3 should be a guy that a lot of people would have at number 1 or number 2, but his health, just like AK-41, Alvin Kamara, is a concern for me. Saquon Barkley. He finished 16th overall last season, 1,003 yards, 6 TDs. We need him to be somewhere between 1,100 and 1,700 yards rushing and that 10 to 15 touchdown range. I know he can do it. He's going to have that breakout year, but when he plays so hard like he does, sometimes injuries follow, and that's what I'm worried about. Number 3, Saquon Barkley. Number 2, probably the most surprising player on the list besides AK-41 at number 8, Nick Chubb for the Cleveland Browns. He finished number 2 last season in the NFL, and I think he could finish number 1 this season. 1,494 yards, 5 yards per carry average, 8 TDs. I think he can do better than that. He could be somewhere between 10 and 14 TDs on the ground. Baker Mayfield, I don't really believe in him that much. You got Odell Beckham Jr., you got Jarvis Landry, Austin Hooper, Njoku, even though he wants to trade. But the one constant for that team, even though they got Kareem Hunt behind him, who was a stud for your Kansas City Chiefs, Odin's Child, a few years back, Nick Chubb is the truth. Let's not sleep on him. He is the man. Saquon is the man as well. And number 1, the best running back to me, run CMC, Christian McCaffrey. 1,387 yards, 15 TDs on the ground, 1,005 yards rushing, receiving, and 4 TDs. Let me say that again. 1,387 yards and 15 TDs on the ground, 1,005 yards receiving, 4 TDs in the air. Unfucking believable, and I think that he could do better. I think at the end of the season, he could be at 1,500 yards rushing and at 11 or 1,200 yards receiving. I honestly think he's that talented. He is the man. Odin's Child in the building. Thunder Dash in the building. Mr. Cole in the building. Mr. Cole says, who do you think will be the next head coach for the Chiefs? Eric Bieniemy or Steve Spags? Well, Bieniemy's leaving because Andy Reid isn't leaving anytime soon. So Bieniemy's going to get a head coaching job unless he likes to be able to stay, winning championships, year in and year out. I hope he stays. Just like, Sammy Shaboing Boing Watkins. I'm going to take less money and I'm going to stay. And I hope Bieniemy stays. But, I mean, he's such a good OC. I think someone's going to give him the job, at some point or another, and that's facts. NFL top 10 running backs or runners of the football going into the 2020 regular season by your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy like Omer Muich did, $8.99. Thank you so much. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch, link is below every video on our YouTube page. It's been an hour. I'm sweating my ass off in here. The AC is off. I only have the fan. And before I go, I want to share the list, the supposed list of these executives that are so fucking smart that they think that these certain running backs are way better than some of the others. And it was just mind-blowing to me, so I had to do a video today. So here we go. In a poll conducted with more than 50 NFL executives, scouts, players, ESPN, which is trash, Get Up, trash, top 10 running backs for the upcoming season. Number 10, Le'Veon Bell. You might as well just throw your phone down and break it, whether it's an Android or an iPhone. Le'Veon Bell is not top 10, and if he was, he'd still be on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Trash. Josh Jacobs at 9. I could do that. Joe Mixon at 8. Too injury prone for me. I think he's a top 10 talent, but he doesn't end up finishing seasons. Just like Andy Dalton and Eifert and A.J. Green. The Bengals get hurt. Let's just hope Joe Burrow can change that, that trend. They got A.J. Green. You end up getting Tyler Boyd. You got T. Higgins. They got lots of nice talent there. John Ross. They all get hurt. But for me, Le'Veon Bell at number 10, nope. Jacobs at 9, I'll take that. Mixon at 8, nope. Chubb at 7, you kidding me? Chubb is a top 5 running back. And that's if you're being just low-key, don't want to be even generous at all. I would put him somewhere between 2 and 5. But, I mean, if you want to have him all the way at 8, that's fine. At least you have him on the list. You have him at 7. Dalvin Cook at 6, that's fine. Henry at 5, that's fine. Kamara at 4, that's a little high for me, just because that's assuming that he's going to be healthy for the whole year. Not sure if he's going to have a better year than Henry, Cook, or Chubb and Jacobs. I doubt it. Especially if he's going to be splitting carries with Latavius Murray, Taysom Hill. We'll see. I hope he proves me wrong and he can handle it. Zeke at 3, Christian McCaffrey at 2, Saquon at 1. And I feel that's just very media-based. Saquon 1, McCaffrey 2, Zeke 3, Kamara 4, Henry 5, Cook 6, Chubb 7, Mixon 8, Jacobs 9, Le'Veon 10. It's like they didn't even do their homework. You know what I mean? They just threw some names on a fucking board on a piece of paper and just wanted to see what stuck. That's just me. I don't think Miles Sanders is a top 10 running back, but he plays like a top 10 running back, if that makes any sense. He's one of those guys. His stats weren't good enough to be top 10, right? But as we go into this season, the only thing that's going to hinder him, right, is that you have too much talent. You got Carson Wentz, you got Rager, you got Djax, you got Alshon, you got Goddard, you got Zach Ertz. I mean, do I need to keep going? I mean, you got so many pieces, that's going to take away from Miles Sanders just a little bit, plus the guys that they have behind him, the horsemen. So I still think this could be the year. And like I said, I think that he plays like a top 10 running back, but he's not top 10 just yet, but he's just on the outside looking in. And I like the Eagles. Like I already told you guys before, I feel that they're going to win the NFC East, and I think Carson Wentz is a top 4 running quarterback in the whole entire league. Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Carson Wentz. So I do my homework. I'm a Bucs fan, but I call it right down the middle on how I see it. You feel me? It's facts. Yeah, Clyde Edwards-Helaire should be great. Jonathan Taylor for the Colts should be great. There's going to be a lot of different pieces that are going to be fantastic as we move forward. I'm excited. So I'm sweating balls off over here. It's really, really hot in here. Like I said, I don't know if how 80, 90, 100 degrees it feels like in here. I wanted to do the stream for probably about an hour, and we broke that hour point. So I'm probably going to end the stream, but I just wanted to be able to come online and, do the stream. NFL top 10 running backs going into 2020 or runners with the football. Get up ESPN at a list, but mine is better with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. And also, too, comment below in the chat if you can, or after the video is over in the comment section. Make me see what you guys think for top 5. If you have the patience, do top 10 for me. I'd like to be able to see what you guys think and who's in top 5 and top 10, either on here or after the video ends in the comment section. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys very much. Omer Muich with a generous $8.99 donation. Big Jim Cruz in the building. Odin's Child, Justin Wills, Thunder Dash, Damon P. Aquadio, Orion, long time no see. Am I hearing Eagles talk? Of course. Brandon in the building. He said, I just got in here to see where you have Zeke. So I'll go through the list one more time, even though I'm dying here. It's hot as fuck, but I'll do it one more time. NFL top 10 running backs going into the 2020 regular season with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Get Up ESPN had a trash list earlier today. They had Aaron Jones off the list completely, so I had to do the list. So my honorable mention going into 2020 is DeAndre Swift from the Detroit Lions. No problem, Brandon. I got you. I love the fans more than any other channel on YouTube. You guys are the best fans, so I'll do anything for you guys. DeAndre Swift for the Lions is my honorable mention. I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Jonathan Taylor for the Chiefs and the Colts, respectively, could be great as well. But DeAndre Swift could be the next Nick Chubb, and if he ends up having a great season for the Lions and Matthew Stafford, they could make the playoffs. Honorable mention, DeAndre Swift. That means that Kerryon Johnson is going to have to switch to be that change of pace third down back. At number 10, the most underrated running back in the league, Chris Carson from the Seattle Seahawks. 1,230 yards, 7 TDs on the ground. And I also have from the Raiders, Josh Jacobs. 1,150 yards, 7 TDs on the ground. Both guys are undervalued. I think that they'll be better. Carson definitely doesn't get as much pub as Josh Jacobs, but he ended up finishing last year 5th overall in the league, and I think he could be just as good this season. Dangerous, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, he's got the package, and Josh Jacobs has got Darren Waller, Carr, or Mariota. They got Tyrell Williams. They have plenty of pieces there. Look for them to show out. Carson and Jacobs tied at number 10. Number 9, Mark Ingram. Never really been the same, AK-41, since Mark Ingram left. For the Ravens, he got hurt late, and it showed. 1,018 yards, 5.0 average, second to only Derrick Henry. 10 TDs on the ground, even though he did get hurt. Mark Ingram is a stud. Let's give him some respect at number 9. Number 8, Alvin Kamara, AK-41, the alien. I would have had him a little bit higher in the ESPN Get Up list. He was number 4, but he just hasn't proven to me that he can stay healthy the whole year round. He was 22nd overall last season, 797 yards, 5 TDs on the ground at 65%. So let's see if he can stay healthy. He's going to split carries with Latavius Murray. Taysom Hill will take away some of that as well, but we will see where it goes. AK-41 at number 8. Number 7, Dalvin Cook, Skull from the Minnesota Vikings. 13 TDs on the ground, 1,135 yards, rushing, 4.5 average. I love Dalvin Cook. He wants his money. Give it to him. He's worth it. Number 7, Dalvin Cook. Number 6, it's kind of a cheat because he's that damn good. Lamar Jackson. He's not even a fucking running back, but he played like one. He was 6th overall last season. That means only 5 running backs beat him last season. No wonder he won the fucking MVP. 1,206 yards, 7 TDs on the ground, 80.4 yards per game rushing. I won't even mention his passing stats because he's that damn good. MVP, Lamar Jackson at 6. A tie at number 5, Aaron Jones. Who? Aaron Jones. And number 1 rusher last season, Derrick Henry. Aaron Jones had 16 TDs on the ground. And guess what? Derrick Henry also had 16 TDs on the ground. The difference? Henry finished number 1 overall in yards, 1,540, average, 5.1, as well as 102.7 yards per game. All number 1 in all 3 categories. Derrick Henry tied with Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones at number 5. Number 4, the Cowboys' very own Zeke Elliott. He's got the corona. We're not talking about the beer. Hopefully he gets healthy. 1,357 yards, 12 TDs on the ground. He's been the most consistent running back year in and year out since he's come into the league. Absolutely love him. They run and die with Zeke Elliott. Let's see what he can do this season with Dak and CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, and Amari Cooper. Zeke Elliott, at number 4. Number 3, a lot of people would have this guy at number 1. Right? But I feel his health is an issue as well, like AK-41 Alvin Kamara. Saquon Barkley, 1,003 yards, 6 TDs. He finished 16th overall last season. He could be a guy that could be number 1 and have 1,700 yards rushing, 17 TDs on the ground, but I got to be able to see him do it and stay healthy. Number 3, Saquon Barkley. Number 2 would be surprising to a lot of y'all because I think he's this damn good and he could be the rushing title holder, the champ at the end of the season, Nick Chubb. I don't trust Baker. I don't trust Odell Beckham. I don't trust Jarvis Landry. I don't trust Austin Hooper or Njoku, but I do trust, from Georgia, Nick Chubb. He finished number 2 last season. I think he could be number 2 or number 1 this season. 1,494 yards, a 5.0 average per carry, 8 TDs on the ground. He could be somewhere between 10 and 14 this season. Even though Kareem Hunt is behind him, I think he can do a fantastic job. One of the more underrated running backs in the league besides Chris Carson, Nick Chubb at number 2. And number 1, run CMC from the Panthers. Stand up, Christian McCaffrey. 1,387 yards rushing, 15 TDs on the ground, 1,005 yards receiving, and 4 TDs in the air. He is the man. What can you say? And ESPN's list, again, trash. Number 10, Le'Veon Bell. Number 9, Josh Jacobs. Number 8, Joe Mixon. Number 7, Nick Chubb. Number 6, Dalvin Cook. Number 5, Derrick Henry. Number 4, AK-41 Alvin Kamara. Number 3, Zeke. Number 2, Christian McCaffrey. Number 1, Saquon Barkley. And to me, that's just ESPN for a nutshell. They just threw shit out onto a wall. They didn't really look at stats. They just did it based off what the media wants you to hear. And it is what it is. Tube FN in the building. But I am exhausted. I hope you guys enjoyed the broadcast and enjoyed the live stream. Like I said, I did a Patrick Mahomes one a couple days ago, and a reaction. Is Patrick Mahomes worth $503 million? If you didn't get a chance to see that live stream, check it out. And then I have this one that we did as well. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Comment below either in the chat or obviously in the comment section your top 10. I would love to see what you guys think. NFL top 10 running backs going into the 2020 regular season with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Have a great rest of your night. Subscribe to the channel. Love you guys. I will be back soon. Have a great night. Peace. NFL top 10, baby.